From Anne Frank, the book, the life, the afterlife. Guided close read. Otto Frank, the only surviving member, published his daughter's diary in June of 1947, 2 years after the war ended. The 1,500 copies from that first printing sold out quickly, as did a second printing. In February of 1948, there was a third printing of 10,000 copies. By the 1950s, the book had been translated into German, French, and English, paving the way for it to become a worldwide sensation. Author's point of view is his or her position or perspective on a subject. The facts, reasons, and other details that an author includes reveal his or her point of view. Reread lines 3 through 12. Identify details that describe the author's feelings about reading Anne Frank's diary for the first time. Pause while you think. Reading it until daylight faded. Lost track of my surroundings. Felt as if I were entering the Amsterdam attic. I was enthralled by Anne's vivid descriptions. Explain what these details suggest about the author's point of view. Pause while you think. She read this diary when she was younger and is an admirer of Anne Frank's work. Identifying an author's opinions and the reasons given to support those opinions can help you determine the author's point of view. Reread lines 29 through 37. Identify the author's opinion of Anne Frank's book and then find several reasons used to support the opinion. Pause while you think. Her opinion is, I was in the presence of a consciously crafted work of literature. Some reasons that support this. How much art is required to give the impression of artlessness? How much control is necessary to seem natural? Nothing is more difficult for a writer than to find a narrative voice as fresh and unaffected as Anne Frank's. What does the author's opinion suggest about her point of view? Pause while you think. She sees the diary as something carefully crafted and sees Anne as a skilled writer rather than as an adolescent sharing random thoughts. Tone expresses the author's attitude toward his or her subject. The author's selection of words, which we call word choice, contributes to the feeling associated with a text. Reread lines 60 through 74. Identify the tone of the passage and the word choices that reflect the tone. Pause while you think. The tone of this passage is respectful. She uses the words, not merely as a girl. Anne's passion for writing. What is the impact of the author's choice of the word passion? Pause while you think. It emphasizes Anne's intensity as a writer. An author's purpose is his or her reason for writing. Nonfiction writing is usually intended to inform or to persuade readers. Reread lines 95 through 110. Identify prose's purpose in writing the literary criticism and why she included this passage from Miepke's memoir. Pause while you think. Prose's general purpose is to persuade readers to agree with her that Anne Frank should be respected as a writer. She includes the passage from Guy's memoir to support her purpose by describing a startling new view of Anne's intensity as a writer. Remember that tone expresses the author's attitude toward his or her subject, and that word choices reflect that attitude. Reread lines 143 through 148. Identify the tone of Harry Mullish's quotation. How do his word choices reflect that tone? Pause while you think. His tone is dismissive and somewhat arrogant. This attitude is supported by word choices such as the work by this child, literally found among the debris. What does Mullish mean by the phrase found object? Pause while you think. Something that occurred naturally without human creativity. An author's point of view is shown through descriptions, word choices, supporting evidence, and tone. Reread lines 184 through 190. Identify the words that reflect and reinforce the author's point of view about Anne Frank as a writer. Pause while you think. She managed to create something that transcended what she herself called the unbosomings of a 13-year-old. It should be awarded its place among the great memoirs.